The Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries presents Friday Night Bible Study. Our Friday night Bible studies are held in the United Kingdom, Atlanta, Georgia, St. Louis, Missouri, and in the state of New Jersey. Welcome to Friday Night Bible Study.
All right, welcome everyone to Friday night's lesson. I've got an all-star cast lined up here. Let everybody introduce themselves. First of all, my name is Elder Elvis, and I'll let everyone introduce themselves for their own accord. Fire away. We'll start at the top of the screen based on what I'm looking at.
Peace, Jesse here.
Peace, Tina here.
Peace, Levi.
And peace, everyone. I'm Sean.
Awesome. So yes, we do have an all-star cast lineup. So it's almost like I don't have to do any work tonight. So for those that are out there in Cyberland, please remember to comment, questions, throw in the fire. What else we got? Stars, explosion, rockets, name it. Anything to make it like, yes, you're involved and whatnot. So tonight we have an interesting thing for our topic is, do we have a choice? What say you? Let me hear from my all-star guys first, and for those that are out there, throw in whether you think you have a choice or not, or do we have a choice, and let's let as they say, let the blood flow. All right, what do you guys think?
I think it's interesting, the title, because when I first read it, it was like, yeah, we got choice. But you know what? This word has many variables to it, but I won't say more than that. But yeah, because we're going to delve into it with the scriptures. But yeah, it's not just simple as it looks.
Every day is a choice. That's what I think of it.
Okay. Anything from you, Levi, Sean?
Yeah, I think
I would say when you look at choice, we're looking at making a decision between two things, or it could be more than two things.
Okay.
I would
But at least a minimum of two things.
Yeah, I would just agree with what everyone said. I do think we have a choice in everything that we do. There's always a choice.
We even
choose. So it sounds like we have a choice, but do you really have a choice? I'm going to put some spin on that. Like, do you really have a choice? Like, okay, so
Yes,
let's
you
look
do.
at So let's look at it. Every day, yes, as Jesse said, you do have everything you do in your life. Every day is a single choice. You got to choose whether you want to get up at this time or get up at that time, whether you want to sleep in, whether you want to go to work, whether you want to listen to this, or whether you want to eat this or that. Like, you do have a choice, and your whole life is based on choosing what is this and that. Maybe right from wrong, maybe going down this path or that path, or choosing in scripturally and spiritually, choosing the lie from the truth. So everything you do in your life, you do have to choose. You have a choice whether you want to follow that path or that path. And some of the choices you make in your life, you at the end of the road or retrospect, or you could look back and says, yeah, I think I made the right choice. Or in some cases says, man, I wish I could get a chance over. You know what I mean? We've gone through all of that. You know what I mean? Anyways, you guys say what you got to say, and we can get everybody out there in Cyberland to get involved on this topic. Do we have a choice? Okay.
Even when we don't choose, that's a choice. That's still a choice. Like, not choosing is a choice to not choose. So exactly. I love this topic. I'm ready to.
I'm glad you do, because you know some people say, you know what, it's my life and I'll choose how I want to live it. You guys ever heard that? A lot of especially this generation, I hear a lot of teenagers rebelling. It's my life. I can choose and do whatever I want. I can change my name if I want. I can do this if I want. You guys know where I'm going with this. You've heard that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it's so relevant today that people that make these kind of comment, it's my life, I can choose and live it how I want to, not knowing what is up the next day, that the choice that they make today or the decision they've decided upon will affect them greatly for the rest of their life. So therefore, let's dive into this thing. Do we have a choice?
Hmm.
Okay. Because again,
Mhm.
in our culture, the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministry, as an Israelite, we have to be very, 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 very careful of our decision on what we do every day on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Okay? So we
Yeah.
have to say, um, if you say you're an Israelite, you got to say, all right,
That's correct.
I'm gonna cross over this line, and now I'm gonna choose to live the truth and not the lie. I will choose to keep the God of Israel's holy days and not the pagans' holidays. I will choose to know that Jesus is not God.
Yeah.
He's an Israelite like you and I. And to know that there is a true and living God. His name is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.
Amen for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta come to those things. Once you're an Israelite, you can't just say it's my life and I'll live it the way I want. Those things are gone actually.
Yeah. That's
So
how some people outside would call themselves Israelites and proceed to do whatever they do in their life, not knowing what an Israelite really means and what it takes to be one.
and even when you are in Israel, you still have a choice, by the way.
You
You
do,
still
Mm-hmm.
yes.
yeah, we do. We still have a choice. You can decide to stay on it or come off it. By the way, but not all of us actually have a choice. To tell you the truth, once you're an Israelite, you find out that some of us actually don't have a choice. And I know that
But
there's a certain
Elder
man.
Elvis,
Yes.
as you say that, that brought to mind is going back to being a child. Because
Hmm.
even though as children we have choices, but the choices are limited because the choices that we are introduced to are governed by what our parents
Right.
know during that time, under what umbrella they lived under. We are now living under Israel. So even when you look at your children and those who have children, the choices become limited because, as Israel, our culture, we do certain things a certain way. So even if your child says to you that, my friends are going trick or treating, or they're going to
Mm.
a Valentine's party,
Mm.
Right.
that's a limited choice because that's not part of our structure at all. We're not following anything that's pagan. So in
Mm.
terms of choice, that choice becomes limited. Yes, your child has a in his mind, oh, I have the right to choose, it's my friends, whatever. But because you're the parent, and similarly, when we look at our God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, he's our father. He's given us instructions. Are we going to follow the choices that he's made for us, or are we going to go along our own path? The difference with us is that our children, we control them physically
Right.
and at certain
Right.
ages, so they cannot do opposite to what we say. But then as we move along in the lesson tonight, we will see
Mm.
how even with the God of Israel, instead of staying with our father, that we make other choices. So that's just what I want to throw in there in terms of a parent to a
Right.
child and
Right.
the limitations with choices.
If
And
I can
it
add,
does seem
oh,
limited. It does seem limited based on the physical sight that we see. However,
Mhm.
we know that seem limited. It actually far surpasses whatever the choice of the outside secular world is doing, actually. Because if you understand spirituality, you'll know that that was a wise choice that you just did, not just for your child, but for yourself also, because you are
Right.
in that spirituality. You got to make the right choice, not just for them, because whatever you make for them will also affect you and back to you. Actually, like a what do you call like a backlash? If you make the right one, you get the backlash of the good stuff. If you make the wrong, you get the backlash of the bad stuff. So yeah, it's limited. But however, as I said, there are some of us that actually don't have a choice, and one of those persons is our elder Shadrach. Actually, he does not have a choice to say, I'm tired and I gotta kind of need a rest. I need to take a vacation. He actually doesn't have a choice. He has to keep doing what he does, regardless of up or down, whether 1,000 come in or 1,000 go. He still has to stay on this path to serve true and living God and deliver this message to us. So he doesn't have a choice. We do. We could say, yeah, Elder, we're kind of tired. I want a vacation. I need a break. But he can't say that. So let's look at another person in the scriptures. We can dive in that actually doesn't have a choice either.
I want to add something.
Add to it. While these guys add to it, we're going to go to Exodus chapter 4 so everybody can find it. But go ahead and comment here, my all-star cast. Do your thing.
Even prophets in the days of old pretty much didn't have a choice. You're a prophet. You already know what's going to happen based on what the God of Israel has given unto you. You already know the instructions. You already know, again, what's going to happen, and you have to carry it out anyways because you were chosen for that role. So you don't really have a choice in the matter, whether you like it or not. And the prophets, well, based on what our people did to them, they did not like that role at all. But they had to do it anyways because they were chosen for it.
I do kind of see things a bit differently because I still believe in those situations there is still a choice, but we have to remember is that there's still consequences for your choice. So I think for Elder, I do think Elder Shadrach had a choice. He didn't have to be the leader that we have today. He could have, we mentioned it so many times, that he could have gotten to the entertainment business. But what I think is so beautiful is that he chose to lead his people. And I feel like that's ability, that choice is what gives it meaning, because he turned away from all the distractions of the outside and decided to lead us. He didn't have to do that. But I also feel like we have to understand is that it's not so much like you're necessarily locked in a path, but if you choose to go against this path, there's going to be consequences. Auntie Sean, you provided a great example where we raise our kids down a certain path. You keep them away from Valentine's, Halloween, all of that stuff, right? But even then, if the kid wants to disobey, they could make that choice. But if you found out, there's going to be consequences for sure, right? So I guess to me, I see a bit differently as we always have a choice, because to me, a choice is what gives our actions meaning. But we also have to remember that every choice we make has consequences behind it. The idea of free will to me isn't just you get to do whatever you want without any responsibilities. We still have those responsibilities to our family, to ourselves. Like, our life is more than just our own. So we have to kind of carry it with that responsibility no matter what. That's just how I kind of envision things personally.
Yeah, I love that.
You know what? That's a great point. That's a great point, Levi, because as you started talking, my memory flashed to Jonah.
Exactly.
When he was given instructions to go down to Nineveh and he disobeyed, right? He made a choice to disobey, and the consequences he faced, right?
Yeah.
So yes, we do have a choice and we can choose, but it comes with a consequence. Whether it's a good consequence or it's a bad consequence, it's still a consequence.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So do we have somebody that can read for me?
I'll read it.
So Exodus chapter 4. Okay, follow me along for those that are out there in cyberland and find out that this particular person, to me, did not have a choice after a certain point in time in his life. Go ahead, Tita.
All right, ready? Exodus 4, verse 1. And Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, the Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, what is this that in thine hand? And he said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand.
All right, hold it for a sec. So we're dealing with Moses talking to God. So Moses and God is having a conversation. And obviously, this is the part where Moses is being asked, hey, listen, you're going to have to go down into Egypt and free my people, because I've heard their affliction, and Pharaoh and the taskmaster is doing bad things to my people, the Israelites. And here we are, Moses saying, listen, and by the way, it's just Moses and God talking at that point. And he's saying, so you know what? They might not believe me. So let me just he's trying to back himself out of this situation. He's been asked to go down, but you could see he's trying to edge himself back out. He's trying to say, I'm not ready for this. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Okay? So continue reading. What verse are we at?
We're on verse 5.
Verse 5. All right, fire away.
That they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
All right. So again, God's trying to say, Moses, you got to go. But he said, let me prove some stuff to you to let you know that I am God. Okay. I am the one that has done so many things. So he says, obviously says, put the rod down, and it turned into a snake. Now, you know that it says, put your hand in your bosom. So he put his hand in and pull it out, and it was white. So, and in white in those days is leprous, which is a disease, meaning if it's white, it had to be initially black to begin with. So we're not going to go, that's a different story for another day. We can talk about the color of Moses and God and whatnot, but you're just saying, hey, listen, I can do things just like that. Put the rod down, snake. Put your hand here, white. Put your hand back, turn back. So God is trying to say, listen, I can do stuff with you and for you. Just go. Don't back yourselves out. But again, let's continue, because Moses is still debating he's debating with God right now. You guys can picture this. He's debating with God. And if you guys could imagine the same God that created the heavens and the earth, he literally is talking to him and debating.
I think Moses is focusing on his limitations and not who he has with him. Because sometimes we can look at what we think we can't do, but when we look at what our Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, can do, forget about the rest. Don't focus on your impediments or what you feel you're lacking in. You focus on who's over you and who said, I will be with you. But sometimes, we get into our own self, and we get into our emotions and our feelings, and we, sometimes forget.
I wouldn't say something. I think it's all the time, Tina. Listen, that's not sometimes. It's like 1 minute you're in trouble and you're praying with all your might, heart, soul, but yet you're still doubting that the prayer is not going to get answered while you're still praying. So you're getting in your own way, man. It's like as Jesus.
Or sometimes other thoughts and emotions intervene as well.
Yes.
So yes, you're blocking your own prayer by getting in your own way. Yeah. Aaron, continue reading, please.
Okay, verse 8. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river and pour it upon the dry land. And the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue.
Hold it. Guys, are you seeing that? Look what he's saying. Oh, he's making up excuses. What do you guys
think? They may be valid, though, to him.
From trying to inch away from it to not outright saying that he cannot do this. Like, he's stuttering, slow, like, can't do it. That's what he's saying. You can't do nothing.
I can relate to Moses because I have this lisp and I don't like but I'm gonna do it because I was instructed to do so. But you look at your flaws, I'll say, and sometimes we put that before us too much before we put the God of Israel, So it's a work in progress.
You know what? If you look at it though, and how we relate to that today, there are those among us who, once they get up in front of a crowd, they begin to shiver. When they open their mouth, they begin to stutter. You know what I mean? They're sweating, they're everything, even though they may have prepared. And when you look at Moses' situation here, Moses was a friend to the Most High God, the God of all gods, who could make anything happen. But yet Moses saw his physical inabilities and did not rely on his spiritual abilities that would override the physical limitations, right? So he just saw his physical impediments. Right? So, and this whole fear of going in front of the leader got in the way, and because he had the speech impediment already, he couldn't see beyond that. But the God of our forefathers saw more in Moses, because spirit to spirit is a serious thing, and it's a very strong thing. So he knew that he could do from Moses, so that Moses could overcome. So even when he gave him these examples, Moses still was afraid. Because he says, but I can't. But we, as we go along in the story, we'll see how he overcame that. And it's the same thing for us today. We have to go through the whatever it is to bring us to that point where we can say, thank you, Father, now I can. But you have to put yourself in it in order to realize that you actually can do it.
Stepping out of your comfort zone.
And even with Moses, one thing I always think about, or what I remember, is that we have to bring the scriptures to life here. So remember, Moses was being in Pharaoh's house. He was a prince, access to the best education. So it's he doesn't even realize the resources that he had put into him, that he is more capable than what he believes.
Exactly.
And so you really see
focusing on the negative.
Belittle himself and focusing on the negative, not even realizing that there should be no excuse. You've been prepared for this even before you knew.
True. And that's the reason why the God of Israel chose him to say, you're the man to deliver the message and to deliver my people. He's stamped. So there's no way he's going to be able to get out of this choice now, by the way. So he's stuck because he's been chosen to say, Moses, come up and see the bush that's burning, and so forth. And he met an angel up there already. Now he's talking to God Almighty and whatnot. And it's like, listen, no matter how you try and whistle your way out, you're stuck. It's like that stamp of you're chosen. This is your job. You have no choice now. So we'll find out more why Moses is still trying to stammer his way out and stuff like that as we continue. He's been selected and chosen. When you're chosen and selected, you have no choice. That you're going on a secret agent mission. You're the man, all the qualification. 40 years in Egypt, 40 years in the wilderness. So you've got the experience. You go on a job search and they said, oh, the resume. Yeah, that's the man. We want that guy. He's it. So this is what exactly is happening. Let's continue to read, Tina.
Yeah. I want to add to what Levi said. Like, even though he had all of these resources, for us sometimes, whenever we have something, we tend to either doubt ourselves or forget that we have the resources that we can use to help us, right? Like, sometimes I can kind of relate this to sometimes when I'm playing video games for like specifically fighting games. You have to think like what you have is your punches, your blocks, your dodges, your moves, and then the opponent right in front of you. And you have to make sure that you don't panic, otherwise you end up forgetting how to do everything on what you did. Like a moment ago, you could be following up with haymaker after haymaker, dodge, block, another one. But then one slip up, and sometimes that can end up making you panic and then messing up your moves, ending up you with losing against your opponent. So you have to always keep a level head and remember what you have in order to use it. So that's how I kind of see it.
There was a comment somebody put in the chat about it being an excuse because he knew the people. So Moses didn't want to face the people. And that's true. Yeah, he knew the people, what type of people he was going to be dealing with. But he still had those issues too. We don't want to, forget about those. But yeah, mainly it probably was more of an excuse than anything, because sometimes when you know your opponent, you don't want to, and not necessarily because they weren't his opponents, but he knew who he had to go face. Right. So I can just come up with all of these things so I don't have to face them.
Trying to weasel his way out of the commission. Yeah, he's commissioned to go in there and do this.
But could it be a point here too? Another point that came to mind as well. Was it because he was with them all this time, right? And now he's about to go up against them. He was afraid to go up against the people that he was with. He was inside of, he was raised as royalty. Now you want me to go against the people that raised me up? How can I do that? How can I be disloyal to them? Could it be that Moses was thinking all these things? Why he didn't want to, so he came up with the excuse, but I can't talk. I can't this, I can't that. Could be.
Perhaps.
There's a lot of stuff swirling through his head. But the bottom line is he was just trying to weasel his way out. Regardless.
That's right.
So we're still at verse 11. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto him, who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb or deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. And he said, is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee. And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart.
See that? All that back and forth to the point that the God of Israel said, this guy's peeing me off.
Yeah. He's just getting straight to the point, like, okay, no, quit the excuses. Focus here.
No, it said anger.
I know, kindled against Moses.
The scripture, whether it was he was wroth or angered, those are heavy words. It's not a mild word. It says anger. So to the point, the God of Israel is a patient God. But this right now, this back and forth and all these excuses, this guy I think he's ready to slap Moses with a backhand here.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm the one that made everything. I'm telling you already. Didn't you just see me when I said take the water, throw it on the water, then it turned to blood? Like, hello? What more proof do you need? You got the proof there. So again, This is, do we have a choice? And at this point, we say Moses does not have a choice, literally. He's been stamped, boom, boom. You ever go through the airport and you through the customs and it says where you going and blah blah blah, and he's and they says, all right, you're good to go. Boom. You ever, you guys, you know what I'm talking about. You come to Canada a lot. It's because you go to the airport. I've traveled a lot, so I know every time my passport's that boom, boom. You're good to go. So Moses has been stamped. This is you. You got to go into Egypt, talk to Pharaoh to get my people out because I'm tired of hearing them crying to me and all that misery that's going on. So you got to go in there and deal with it. But it's like, I can't. Excuses. I don't know. I'm slow. My tongue is tied up. Blah, blah, blah. God says, okay, let me prove some stuff to you. All right. Drop the rod down. Turn to snake. Okay. Put your hand in your bosom. Take the water. After all of that, Moses still come and say, my tongue is tied up, man. I can't do this. You're laughing, Tina, because if we were to act this out, if we were to put somebody to act out these things, you would see how funny it would seem, but at the same time, very frustrating. So the God of Israel got frustrated.
Yeah.
That's why he said it was anger. So Moses
very frustrated.
Making it difficult for him here. After all that proof, hey, listen, man, I'm going to be with you. Hello. What more do you need? Okay, but let's wrap up this and we'll move on. Okay. So, but yeah, you can see. Go ahead, finish it off, please.
And thou shalt speak unto him and put words in his mouth, and I will be with thy mouth and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people, and he shall be to thee instead of a mouth. And thou shalt be to him instead of God. And thou shalt take this rod in thy hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs.
So there you see. Don't worry. I'm going to send Aaron, your brother, with you so you're not lonely, and he will do the thing. You talk to him and he will do that. So don't worry.
So no more excuses. I mean, he got everything covered.
Everything covered. Such is our God. He always has every situation covered, every end covered. He's got this scenario covered. He already knows what you're going to be facing. So he says, all right, I got your back. Don't worry. You just got to focus on what I tell you to do and don't worry about anything else. Such as today also, that if we believe in our God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, and the instructions that were passed down to Elder Shadrach, to us through the council member, to the priesthood, and if they say this is what we must do, then do it without questioning, because it's coming from the God of Israel. Our Lord is the messenger. He's delivering the message to us on what we need to do to serve our God. And yes, he could have, remember, says, do we have a choice? He could have chosen somebody else instead of you. Just look at that. How interesting that we get to hear this message and not the 8.9 or whatever billion people on this planet.
I also kind of see it as you may have a choice, but God's choice is what's going to always trump all. So even if by some miracle Moses said no, he would have been like, okay, bump you, we move on to the next person because this has to happen. So I feel like that's one thing we always have to remember. If we aren't going to be the ones to step up when the time calls for it, life's going to move on and you're going to suffer the consequences. But the God of Israel is going to make sure that his people are safe no matter what. But what I find interesting about Moses is you kind of see how even from the beginning, he was kind of being built up for this role and for this position. We talked about how he was raised in Pharaoh's house. So, access to all that great form of education. So the excuse of I can't speak to me doesn't really hold up well when you're raised in that, environment. But then also you see that he had a deep love for his people and that he did want to save them. We have to remember that when he killed that Egyptian who was hitting his own brethren, that was his own choice and his own, will to go against the people who he would, consider his own people, the Egyptians, to go against the people who raised them. That was his own choice. He didn't want to see his brethren getting hurt. So I feel like there's a beauty in that. And I feel like Moses didn't realize that this will to fight had been already put inside him until this moment here.
Yes.
So I can see where that can make it where he really didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Well,
he was already on that predestination, I guess.
Yeah.
What you said there, Levi, about it was groomed from, it's pretty much almost like our elder Shadrach. His story, his thing that he had to go through when he said he got involved in politics and all these things that gave him that background knowledge that allowed the God of Israel to forge and form him to what he is today, to allow him to become that messenger. Because of it, God of Israel is always looking for somebody to lead his people. And he so happened to fit that bill, actually, that you're the man to deliver my people, to bring this message back to my people in the time of 2020, this new age, not in those days of old, but now in this era of time. That you've got to give that message to my people, because my people are scattered all over this earth, the four corners. And your message to his message to our elders got to get out there. And it so happened that when the age of information is running rampant, internet, social media, it's going to get to the four corners of the earth. So yes. Yeah. Let's look at another story. There's another story about a man who had choice but ignored it, and now he's going to end up paying the consequence of that choice, as Levi, the consequence of ignoring knowing well what happened and so forth. So let's go there. So we're going to go to Luke, guys. We got about 3 situations that I want to cover. This is our second one. Hopefully we can cover all of them, but again, we may run out of time for all of you that are out there in cyberland on what our story on the fact that do we have a choice? Some do, and actually some don't. To tell you the truth. All right, those that don't, they got to fill that role and do it well. So we're going to go to a man that had a choice, but kind of ignored it, and he may think that he didn't have a choice, but again, we'll find out at the end of that story. So let's go to Luke chapter 16.
Let me read.
Luke chapter. All right, you read it.
Verse 19. There was a certain rich man. There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar.
Wait, hold on. Not so fast. So it says a certain man clothed in our colors. It's already telling you colors, our color. By the way, this certain man is an Israelite.
Linen.
So linen is white in those days. And what else is there? Purple. And not a lot of people wear purple these days, but that's such a beautiful color, by the way. So he's decked out in purple and white, which is a nice combination. And it says he fared, what's that word? Sumptuously. Every day. So he's living good every day. All right. Continue, please.
Little fun fact about purple in the old days. It was hard to make, right? And hard to come across, and it was often associated with royalty as well. So he's really, really rich. It was hard to get the color purple and then put it onto somewhere. So just a little fun fact there too on how rich this guy was.
Interesting facts.
So verse 20. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores.
All right.
And desiring.
Wait. We got to go through this particular story. We might have to go verse by verse and analytically. So Lazarus, a beggar, also an Israelite. So both of them. So there's a stark contrast: rich, poor, like one up here and one down here. Okay, it's telling you the story. There's a man that is an Israelite, did well, and another man, Israelite, not doing so well. Okay, continue.
Verse 21. And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table, moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. So he's being put away. He's being put away, like no attention to him whatsoever. He's just letting the dogs lick him, and he's asking for even crumbs.
More than that, so he's eating. So you know how you eat when you have lots of food? A little scuff, and you said, yeah, no, that's not good. You throw that away. Come on, you guys. You know what I'm talking about. When you have plenty in your house, when there's a little scuff on something or it's spoiling a little bit, you probably just throw the whole thing away. Or you left the food out maybe a day extra and nothing wrong with it, just that, hey, you said, nah, it's been out too long. Meanwhile, there's nothing wrong with the food. And but so the man was at the man's door. He sees him and he says he couldn't even give him the scraps. Jeez. Remember, he's living well.
Too things.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't even give Lazarus leftovers. So, and he knew that too, by the way. It's not like he doesn't know it. So let's get this straight out here. He knew Lazarus because it says, and desired to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. So yes, they know each other, brethren.
Connection. Yes.
There was a connection. It's not like he's a stranger, okay?
Yeah, and he's just ignoring him too.
Right. He's ignoring him. Yes, he's ignoring him. Let's move on, Jesse. Continue.
Verse 22. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried.
Okay, so it didn't say anything about the angels carrying him. It just says he was buried. Oh, jeez.
Yep.
But the beggar Lazarus was carried by the angels to Abraham's bosom.
I noticed the difference with that too, where it said that the rich man was buried. Right? A rich man was buried. So it's a deeper thing for us here with that. Won't get into that aspect of it though, but it was quite interesting, the contrast that the rich man was buried, but Lazarus was taken into.
Yes.
So there's a message in there.
There is. It's already a few verses in, and we're already seeing so much differences in the decision that rich man made. Okay. Remember, he knew all of this before Lazarus died. That he was a brethren, he was rich, Lazarus was poor, he had food that was just spilling off his table, but he didn't even let Lazarus have that. He was just saying, just throw that in the garbage, and couldn't come and say, yo, Lazarus, see a thing here, here's some food for you, extra food, man, you know? Like, he couldn't even do that. Okay, anyways, continue, Jesse.
Verse 23.
No, because he couldn't do it. Hold on, Jesse. He could do it because he made a choice. He made choices that because he was rich, because he was wealthy, oh, I am better than you. So those are the choices that he was making along those lines, and not realizing that even when within our culture, when you have excess, because remember when they planted the land, right? And after they reaped from the land, and what was left on the land, all the
extras. You don't glean the head. You don't pick off every little thing. You left some out for the beggar and the poor. It says so. You don't strip everything off.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think that choice or option came into the rich man's head because of all the wealth too.
Well, it's almost like he ended up, as you get richer, you're losing your sense of your humility. Say, you know what? Before I got rich, I was there too, because all of those things. But anyways, he just couldn't even help the man out with all that extra food he had. Couldn't even say, Lazarus, here's a plate of food.
Yeah, he could have, but he chose not to.
Right.
He had everything. He had everything. He could have helped. He didn't want
what
to.
would it have cost? What would it have cost him anyway? Because it was scraps leftover.
He wouldn't have
It's
missed
gonna go in
it
the
at
garbage
all.
and rot and waste.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
That shows the lack of compassion he had for his brethren.
And it goes against our culture as Israelites. I think
exactly.
Auntie Sean mentioned earlier how, like we said, when we farmed, you meant to leave some of that wealth and prosperity for the poor who are unable to achieve it. I guess the rich man's mindset to me is what I see a lot in today's modern day, where it's always the idea of take, abuse, use. But there's no level of compassion. There's enough wealth in this world to end world hunger permanently, but you're never going to see that happen because of the greed of man today. So we see how our God has intended things, and when you go outside of that, there's consequences for that. That riches that you're given, it's all temporary, and you have to always remember who gave you that gift, who gave you those riches, who gave you that wealth, who blessed you with that at the end of the day. That's something that can be taken away just like that, especially when you go against this word of law as an Israelite.
Yeah. And about even like them being able to end world hunger, right? Even if it's just one person, they would still be able to end it. And they wouldn't like that probably because of the amount of money taken. So why not partner up with others who are also wealthy and rich to like for the person's perspective, lessen the damage on your own side, partner up with someone else, so then you can all share and give them money, but they wouldn't even do that either.
Oh no, it has been very much. Let's continue because how much time do we got? Anyways, continue, please.
Yeah. Verse 23. And in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torment, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom.
So we're talking the rich man is in hell and in torment. Jeez. So we're coming. Look like it's telling us what happened. That it's not like he didn't keep the Sabbath. He didn't keep the new moon. It's just saying that, listen, the fact that you were rich and you had excess, you saw your brethren a beggar at your gate. You didn't even give him a hand to say, you know what, here's some. Every day he could have given him a plate of food just to alleviate his hunger. So it's like, because of that decision, you ignore your brethren. This is a message for us. When your brethren is so in that level of poverty and you have excess and you ignored him, and now he's in Abraham's bosom and you're in hell and you're in torment. So let's find out what happens while he's in that area, in hell, as it says. Continue, please.
Verse 24. And he cried. Go back, please. Sorry. Okay. Verse 24. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame.
Okay, so why there, brethren? Because he already knows Abraham is his father. Okay, so he knows the deal. When you pass over, you actually know the deal now. Did you make the right choice or not? And there's no going back. So now that you're on the other side, as they would say, you get to know things now that you would not know. To know that, yes, I did make the right choice, and no, I did not make the right choice. He's already finding out that he made the wrong choice.
But you see, Elder Elvis, this also reminds us that that not all Israel is Israel. See, somebody just put the same thing I'm thinking on the screen here, where Pansy is saying exactly what I was thinking, that not all Israel is Israel, because even though he was rich, he was wealthy. And I know it had cut out when I was explaining about the field and stuff like that, that you were supposed to look out for the less fortunate among our brethren, right? And ensure that they're also fed. So when he's now looking at to say, oh, the beggar man, he's getting water, and I can't get a cup of water over here. I was rich, I was wealthy, I was this, I was that. But it means nothing here now, because now he's really seeing exactly what is happening here. But based on the choices he has made, here is the consequence he is facing. And that's the same for us today.
Here's another thing about this story so far up to this point. They both died, and guess what? Right after death is
judgment.
That's right.
There's no queue saying, hey, I am number 1 million in line. I'm going to sit in the waiting room and wait till it's my. I got about 1,000 years before I'm called up to say it's my turn, and then I could finish and delete that. No, right after death is judgment. So we need to understand that, listen, better get things right while you're still in the land of the living, even though this is not our topic, but it's just that this story has so much stuff to gleam out of. Get things while you're in the land of the living right, not just with God, but with your brethren also, because you don't know when tomorrow brings. You might be healthy today, but it might be your turn tomorrow by the time you put your head down on the pillow.
And what I can even add to this is like the responsibilities that come with our choices is what I see here. Like we see that, as Auntie Shaw mentioned once again, that rich man, he could have chose to help out Lazarus in this situation, but he only saw for himself. We as Israel, we're more than just one person. We're united as a people. So the intended way that we're supposed to operate is we're supposed to help our brethren. We help our brethren help us. One thing my dad always mentions is that we use the symbol of the double triangle because, or he compares it to how everyone else is just a pyramid scheme where the people on the bottom serve the great people with the money, or rich people on the top. But with Israel, we're that double triangle because we have our leaders who serve the people, and in return, the people are able to take care of our leaders. So that's the idea of how we operate as a people. That's how we're meant to operate. This rich man, he fell for that outside idea of me, I got to get mine and myself. And there were consequences for that choice because he didn't understand that his life was more than just his own. His wealth was more than just his own. One thing I also kind of can't help but compare this to is Job, how we talked about him, I think, last week, and how Job was shown as a great man who was rich as well. And even in those times of sorrow, he had his friends who were able to come and support him. And to me, I see that because we talked about it the other time, but those friends, they were able to sit there silently and just understand Job. And to me, it says so much without even going in depth because it shows the relationship that he had. That despite having all these riches and wealth, he was never conceited or uptight. He had his friends and people that he could rely on and people that probably relied on him and saw him as a great man. And to me, that's the kind of relationship that we always need to have, no matter how much money or wealth we have. Because at the end of the day, all we have is our brethren and our family. That's who are going to come. That's who is going to be there to support you when the money's not there. So I think that is just something that I feel like we have to strive for. And I feel like this is what the rich man lacked as an Israelite.
Hey, put some fires in the chat for that.
Out there, stars.
Oh, no, right. Okay. Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. If you guys like this,
do it all. Okay.
Say something. Let's continue reading for us, Jesse.
Yeah. Verse 25. This one's good. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. He's already telling him, you were given all of these riches and resources, and you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything to help Lazarus while he was suffering. And now you're in torment.
Continue.
Yeah.
26.
Slide deck, please.
No. Just continue. Just read from the Bible.
Yeah. I don't go on me right now. But verse 26. And beside all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence.
So it's saying that Listen, because there's this great gulf fix, even if Lazarus wanted to come and help you, he couldn't anyways. So because on that side is those that were judged that need to be in torment is in torment, and those on this side that were in Abraham's bosom is in comfort. So as much as you might bawl out or scream out, Lazarus can't come and help you regardless. And yet you could still see. Isn't that interesting? Such a great gulf fix, but yet you can't cross, but we could see on that side. Interesting, is it not? That I could still see, you could see that Lazarus has been comforted, and Lazarus could see that you're in torment, and you said, bawling out to Lazarus, Lazarus, he's probably said, Lazarus, buddy, help. Can you dip that finger in? Oh, I'm so in torment, like, geez. But no, Abraham says, sorry. No can do. And he says, son, because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our fathers, such as when we pray, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, the God of our forefathers. See? So hence, that name starts with Abraham. Let's continue reading. I don't know if we're going to get... Yeah.
I'll be quick. It's ironic that he's calling out to Lazarus for help, but when Lazarus called for help, he didn't receive any. This is ironic.
It's funny too, because he knows Lazarus' name, so he was aware of this man and the situation he was in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now
it's a problem. Now he's calling him.
Now. Yeah. See how permanent things can be when we don't make the right choices?
That's right. Consequences, I like to put it. Consequence of your choices. Let's finish off.
Verse 27. Then he said, I pray thee, therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham saith unto him, they have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. So now Lazarus wants these other 5 brethren to do something. The rich man. Yeah. Oh, sorry. No. Sorry. The rich man. Right. The rich man wants these 5 brethren to do something different so they don't end up in the same position that he's in. Thanks for correcting me, by the way.
No worries. Yeah. So it seems like, as I said, when you're on that side, you actually know the deal. Who's who and the real God and stuff. So for all you people that are out there that are serving a false God, don't make that day when you fall to the other side, you get to see, like this rich man that is regretting the decision that he made, that choice that he made. He's actually regretting it. But he's trying to figure out, okay, so I've got 5 brothers back home in the land of the living. I hope that they don't fall into the same trap. So can you send Lazarus back to warn them? Just to give them a clue. Listen, nobody's ever returned from that side to come back to warn us.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I said, do what is right on this side in the land of the living before you pass. Set things right with God and with your brethren before, because you never know when you will fall or go or whatever. So no, he says, I can't send them back because guess what? They got Moses and the prophet. We got our elder Shadrach, so take advantage of him while we can. Learn as much as you can about the God of Israel, the rules that he set for us, what pleases him, what upsets him. Okay? So learn all this and do, live it. Don't just learn it and say, okay, I know he doesn't like it when we serve other gods and you sit on it and don't do anything. No, do not literally serve other gods. He loves it when you keep his new moons and his Sabbath. He's always talking about the new moon and the Sabbath in the scriptures. He loves it when you keep. Why would he give it to us? It's even in one of the commandments.
Right.
Sabbath day. Very important day to him. So keep it. Okay, don't just take it for granted. Oh, even as a matter of fact, today is a Sabbath day for us, by the way. So sunset tonight to sunset tomorrow is our actual Sabbath day. the 7th day of this month, not the month of January. Help me out, guys. What month are we in?
Sabbath.
So our Sabbath month, this is the 7th day. So after Saturday at evening would be the 8th day. We don't go by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It goes by the numbers. Just like the scriptures go by numbers, like the 20th day, the 22nd day, or the 30th day. It doesn't go by, oh, today's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. No, we don't have those things in those days. We go by numbers. So today is an actual 7th day of this month. After 7 is 8. After 8 is 9. Whoever has problems with math. Okay?
Counting.
So yes, this is an actual Sabbath day. And for us, we keep it holy to the greatest God there is. And I'm not going to divulge the secret of it. I'm just telling you it's a Sabbath day. So the real Sabbath is now. We're in the real Sabbath day. Keep it holy, people. For all those know exactly what I'm talking about. Finish it off, Jesse, please.
Yeah. Verse 30. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. And he said unto him, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, our people back home Caribbean people really don't like the dead. A duppy or a ghost coming to visit you, they'll scatter, they'll run. Unlike people up here, they'll be saying, oh, is that a ghost? Is that a Eva, you're laughing.
You want to investigate.
Listen, it says, though one may come, no, they're not gonna listen, even if one comes from the dead to warn them. You know our people? Our people
they're not listening now. Yeah, why would they listen after?
No. What
We're very stiff-necked too.
Oh boy, stiff-necked, that's not even the word.
Yeah, understatement. That's an understatement.
It's such like I just see so much power in that final verse where it's like, because Moses and the prophets, these are great men. We hear the miracles that we see in Exodus spoken from then all the way to the very end of the Bible. So these people, they know what they're doing is wrong. The brethren who are back, they know what they're doing is wrong. They know what they're supposed to do. They know the laws and the commandments that Moses laid out all the way in Exodus. But even then, they're still refusing to follow them. So if that's not going to change their minds, then even if I could bring Lazarus back, that's not going to change their minds either. It shows you the level that, like we're talking about, choice. There's a weight to our choices. There's a responsibility. Once you make a choice like this, you can't go back. So that's how we see it even with Israel. Once you make a choice to turn away from your God, there's no going back to that. Once that spirit leaves, it's over. So we have to be careful with our choices and with the choices that we make. Because once again, that level of responsibility, I guess. So we see it, man. The knowledge is right in front of you, but you still made a choice to close the book.
Right.
There's nothing more I can do. You're doomed. You're doomed. You're not. You're locked in.
Something
so
out
we
of
have
this.
to see.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to just a little bit. We have to see the urgency in this and what we should do beforehand, because like Levi said, we don't have a second chance once we're gone and facing judgment. There's no more, Father, please, may I, can I? That's over. Once we've made the choice and have died and gone on. I know we've learned or heard other things, but don't listen to that. But listen to an Israelite, starting with our elder Shadrach on down to the Supreme Council, our elders, our teachers, our ministers, all of them. Listen to them as they herald the word of our God, because it's for our benefit. We don't want to suffer the consequences. We want to live and live life abundantly, and however the God of Israel has planned it out for us. At least I do. Let me speak for me.
Amen.
So out of that too, you could have seen that, hey, the rich man is supposed to follow the second great commandment. The first great commandment, as you know, is, as we short form could be, Hero is of the Lord our God, the Lord is one. But it says that love thy God with all thy heart, soul, breath, and mind, and because there was somebody that was asking Jesus the Christ, what is the great commandment? And he says, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Short form. Then he says, and like unto that is the second commandment is love thy brethren, thy neighbor as thyself. And the neighbor in the scripture, neighbor is not meaning the person next door. It means your brethren. That is your neighbor. So here, the second great commandment is like unto the first. If you do those three commandments, everything rests upon all the laws and things rest on these two commandments. So if he had done that, he wouldn't find himself in that position where he's in torment. If he had loved his neighbor, his brethren as himself, obviously he loved just himself, being selfish.
Yeah.
So that decision got him into that spot. A lesson for us to learn. So we have about less than 30 minutes. So we're going to go to something, the last of our thing, which we may not finish entirely, but we're hoping for you to get some meat out of it. Yes, Deuteronomy 28.
If I could add one third thing on the
fire away, man.
Just real quick, because I also find it, because we know Lazarus, he died probably a sad and pitiful death, sores on his body, dogs licking him. While this rich man, he was probably healthy, died probably comfortably, had a long life. But even in that life, there was never an attempt to repent, to make a change, or to change his actions. The scripture talks to us about Lazarus, but who knows who else he may have forsaken too? Because if you can't watch out for Lazarus, I doubt he was watching out for his other brother when they were in need either. So it kind of shows you just how deep and how backwards his character was.
He only kind of looked out for them after he died. Again, the irony in that.
Well, that's what happened when you put in that position. Deuteronomy 28. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. So, wow, what a chapter. Deuteronomy 28. We're going to start at verse 1 because again, we're going to be given plenty of choices to look upon. Follow this side or that side and what will happen. So, Levi, you want to take it for me? We'll start off from verse 1.
Yeah, I got it. Right. Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Hold it right there. Just pause for a sec. Because Moses is the messenger. They finished coming out of the land of Egypt and they're in the wilderness, and he's saying, listen, I have a message. He says, if you follow the commandment, you're going to be given choices now. If you follow the commandments and do them diligently, okay, he will do this for you. Again, reread that for us. Levi, it says, like, just the last sentence of that verse is like, if we could conceptualize that. Read it again, please.
It says, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Do we know what that means?
Means even of all their combined riches, economy, military power, land, the God of Israel simply topples over all of that.
So if we could just imagine to be set on high above all the nations on this earth, even in 2026, can you guys imagine that? What that would mean? All we have to do is what? Follow his commandments diligently. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, look at the power of if. What if? That's powerful.
Oh my goodness. Oh jeez. Hit us, Levi. Come on, man.
All right. Verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be thy fruit.
Pause. I know we're not going to get through the whole of Deuteronomy 28, but we want to get through some of these blessings and what follows, because I know there's always a 1-2 thing. But again, it's saying you're going to be blessed. It's going to overtake you. Like, it's going to be blessings. You pull out your pocket and there's maybe gold falling out of it just because you're trying to get a tissue or candy out of your pocket and gold just falls out. You know? Listen. Just think. It says the blessings will overtake you. Does anybody understand what that means when it will overtake you? It means you don't have to do anything, and it's there. You walk outside your door, and there's probably gold and silver and stuff. It says you're going to say, hey, where did this come from? Meanwhile, there's a chest in the basement full of it.
It'll run you down. I mean, the blessings will literally run you down to bless you.
You open your cupboard and the stuff is falling out because there's no room. You got to flip they had to find, they had to, like, when the door is being pushed out, they had to push and lean up against the door and tighten it. Otherwise, if they don't, I know. But it's going to be
suffering from success mean.
Right. You're ready for a job change. It says, you know what? Let me write up a resume. As you're typing, an email comes in. Oh, hey, we have an opening for you. Are you good to go? These are blessings that are overflowing.
Yes.
Like you don't have too much.
Yeah.
Amen.
It says, oh man, I need a new car. You go in the mail. Oh, hey, you just want a new car. Jeez. This is when blessings overtake you. You just think it and it's done already. Let's see if we can get past, because we only got like 20 minutes, I think. Go ahead, Lisa. I won't try and stop you that much. It's just that as you read, you can just visualize and understand each of these things. Continue, please.
So, verse 4, blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thine kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Go ahead.
Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shall be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thine storehouse, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Are you guys understanding this?
Yeah.
As I said, you open your door. In your own house, you're going to trip over stuff and say, oh, where did this come from? You go outside. You might go outside with, say, I got like a 50 in my pocket. You come back home with like $2,000. It says, blessed when you go out and blessed when you come in. Or you go out with nothing and then you come back with 5 bags of grocery. And you didn't even have to pay a thing for it. Somebody says, hey, you just want a little, you walk in the store and there's a little contest going on. You happen to win it. Oh, you got a full cart of groceries or something. Who knows?
An abundance and overabundance of blessings.
It says it will overtake you. And as you go out, blessed be the fruit of your body. Don't have to worry about, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have any children, this, the other. Or you're kind. You got 2 oxen, and next thing you know, there's like about 100. I said, where did this come from? You know, it's you plant 2 kernels of corn, and they end up being a full field of this stuff. It's like, where did this come from? Just think.
It's contingent upon making the right choice.
Yes.
If you hearken diligently, that don't mean just listen. That means you listen, you do.
You believe.
You believe. All of that encompasses diligently. So he's not going to just hand it over. It's conditional. You know, the world teaches unconditional love, but our God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has conditions. And you have to make the right choice. You either gonna do or not. What was it? Hear or forbear. That was one of our lessons once before, I think. But it's conditional. We have to make the right choices. Do we have a choice? Of course we do. He sets before us life and death, blessings and curses. Choose.
He lays it out simple. He's just telling you the consequences of each choice.
Exactly.
And especially in these days of old, when he says that he will give you all these, like the flocks of sheep, the kin, the resources, the fruits, and all of that, reminds me of another game I played, but this time a board game, right? And sometimes in the game, I'll end up having a bunch of properties or settlements that every dice roll I end up getting too many resources in my hand that even when it gets taken away, I end up getting it back a turn later, even when it's not my turn. And then I end up getting more of it, and then more of it, and then more of it. And there's too much. And I have to do a lot of thinking, what am I going to do with all these resources?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking, an overabundance of blessings and resources.
Our God is never stingy on those things, by the way. He always gives you an abundance of stuff. So to the fact that you can't even finish it. You're eating the old because there's too much new stuff coming in.
Right.
That's the abundance. Let's continue because you said we got like 14 minutes. More like 13 now. Go ahead, Levi. Finish off. Try and get as far as you can in Deuteronomy 28.
I think I left off. Oh, I think I finished this one.
Yeah, you did.
Go ahead.
There we go.
We're in 8 or 7.
Yeah, here we go.
9.
The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee. If thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, and walk in his ways, we see if again, and all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous goods in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee. So we see those promises and blessings again.
All right.
Yeah.
Continue.
But it shall come to pass, if thou will not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Wait, hold on. Easy. Okay. So stark contrast now. That all those things, no matter how you think we can get it, now it says it shall come to pass. If you don't, so he's giving us, again, like Tina says, 2 choices here. Do what you need to do when you get all of this. Do what you don't do it. And this was, so now we're going to find out what happens if you do not, the consequences. Wouldn't that be so nice that if every day you wake up, somebody says, hey, listen, if you go down that road, this is going to happen. But if you go down to this road, this one, wouldn't it be nice if somebody could tell us these things every day? Wouldn't that be so cool? That somebody tells you, hey, I know you're about to do, but if you decide to go to that store at this time, this will happen. If you go to that store, or listen, if you don't go there at this time, this is what, like, it would be so cool, eh? Here is exactly, listen. If you do what I ask you to do, this is what will follow. If you don't do what I ask you to, this is what's going on. So isn't that such an easy thing for, what do they call it? This is a no-brainer?
It should be, yes.
Yeah.
It should be. It should be a no-brainer to say, man, is this pinch me? Is it real? I get to have all of these things if I go that way and follow and do diligently and da-da-da. It's almost like, why would I need to think about that side? Because that sounds painful over there. I mean, it's hurt. And by the way, if you read this thoroughly, all from verse 1 all the way down, and you absorb this, you're going to, at one point, the blessings, you're going to feel happy. And then as we start to go into the consequences, if you don't, you start to get upset, irate, frustrated. You will cry. You will feel hurt because you're going to say, my people, why did you do that? We had so much, like, you shake your head and says, why would you make that choice? How come you made that? And now it's affecting us. You start getting mad now that you come to the realization, why would you guys do that? Like, we're in 2026. Like, geez, man, we're suffering. You want to go there and wring somebody's neck, eh?
Just saying. One thing I also kind of think about here is, well, I think what makes us such a beautiful scripture is these choices. What I also kind of feel like is it's not so much like locked in, if that makes sense, where I feel like if you do wrong, you're now set on this path, because I feel like in our God's infinite mercy, even when you make the wrong choice, you have the opportunity to correct it. I think when we just look at the Bible and the history, one of my favorite scriptures is the Kings. And the reason why is because in Kings, you kind of see how Israel is like in its prime when we're doing right, when we're serving the God of Israel. I think about King Solomon, how he had this massive feast on Ethanim, all these things just coming together in the prosperity that we can have access to. But on the flip side of things, you can see what can happen when we go against that and how bad it can go. But I feel what the God of Israel has always been is, as long as you have breath in your body, you can make the right choice. You can show the humility and the mercy. Those blessings are still in arm's reach. We still have access to them. And I feel like case now where we may, but hey, the 400 years are up. It's time for us to make the choice to do something about that, man. It's time for us to act on it. We have access to those blessings.
Let's read a few more curses. Read a few more of these curses so that you can kind of drive the pain home, as they would say.
Got you. I think that was on verse 17. Cursed shalt thou be in thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep.
Keep going.
Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. The Lord shall make pestilence cleave unto thee, until he hath consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it.
Jeez. One more. Read it.
The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heaven,
keep going.
and thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thy feet shall be iron.
All right. So we'll talk from here on in, because if we try to finish the whole, everything from there, like, is from verse, I think, 13 or whatever, when we started, is all curses. Nothing good from there forth, because we decide, or you chose not to follow the commandments and to do them diligently. So everything is the opposite of what we got earlier. All those blessings is now the opposite if you don't make the right choice.
Thank you, Willie Jackson, for your donation. We really appreciate it.
So you can see that, listen, make the right choice. Choose life worth that. We now know, a lot of the older of us have that outside experience, unlike you, Levi and Jesse, who don't have that outside experience of what goes wrong, what we've been living, the pain, whether it's physically, mentally, or the pain that we go through each and every day. You guys don't experience that. So it's for you guys to take as much from the older of us, that experience that we bring to you guys, and try not to say, yeah, let me go out and experience life for myself. Trust me, I would love to switch with one of you guys right now. I would love to switch. You got a name from our culture. We got to live with this Babylonian name. We can't even change it. Jeez. Like, we got songs that are in our head, rhymes, things that we've done. We can't even erase that. We got so much blemishes. As Cristiano says, I can't even tell you how many pigs I've eaten. It's my life. And how many turkeys and catfish and things that we've eaten. Like, we can't even
But
say.
I like what Levi said, though. We have now the opportunity to get it right, to make the right decision,
Yes,
to do the
that's
right thing. We have the opportunity. It's not too late for us now. It's not,
and
because now we know the
we got
truth.
we got to take advantage of it.
We have to take advantage of it.
And the only way we could take advantage of it is because our elder Shadrach decided to follow this. And now, like, listen, just imagine if you didn't have this, people, we'd still be doing our majigga out there, which is like, oh, jeez. I don't even want to.
Walking in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I don't even want to imagine what we would still be doing. Jeez. Oh, my goodness. This is so hurtful. But yeah, for you guys, Levi, and you guys that are born and just that are born and offered up and raised in this nation, you guys got a clean slate, man. Jeez. Yeah. We don't have such a thing, but we do have a chance to redeem ourselves by saying, thank you, Elder Shadrach, for allowing us to know our God's name, knowing our culture, understanding that the choices that we make is not just you make a choice, but this is to affect your spirituality. And we need to really understand our spirituality and the decisions, the choices that we make the minute you get up each and every day. Like, you got to understand that, okay, before I get out the door, do I say the pledge? Because I don't know what's around the corner. Do I sing songs number 6? Because I have no clue what is coming up against me, because there are people in the background that is coming up against you. You cannot see them. They're plotting for you to come, like, they're after us. So hence why we need to understand, remember your God's name. At least to say when you get up, even if you have to rush out the door, thank you, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, that I actually woke up and I'm back in the land of the living. Because I admit, like, you have no clue that you could have stayed in the land. Okay? So you have to thanks. A little bit of thanks goes a long way for our God, actually. Truly give thanks, and he will appreciate your sincerity. You might not get a chance to pray because you're in a hurry to get out the door, but at least say thank you before you dash out the door. At least and do it often as you can, because that way you stay spirit to spirit, because he communicates to us through spirit. Nobody's going to say
things. Even for the tiny things, because then it builds up and adds up to a big thing.
That's right. So understand the things, the choices that we have to make. We definitely have to always think about these things, you guys. What else you guys want to say? We got about 3 minutes, actually.
Let me try to organize my thoughts, but I think that this is a really great panel and a great message. So I'm really glad that I got the option to choose to be here tonight, because it was indeed a great choice to be here. I definitely enjoyed it.
Nice.
And I also want to thank the God of Israel for blessing us with Elder Shadrach, and I want to thank Elder Shadrach for making the choice to commit to Israel, because who knows where we would have been as a nation without that choice to put his talents and the gifts that he was given into building a community, a nation, and a family. That's true love and dedication. I think that I've learned a lot here tonight, and it was a great discussion talking about choice. So once again, thank y'all for having me. This is awesome.
Hey, man, I love it. My all-star crew here. I love having you guys on, because, listen, you guys make it so natural, so lively, and the fact that different perspective. Yeah, you guys that are in school, out of school, this generation pressure, the choice you get to, our choices that we made, our older generation, and the fact how it's affected us, the fact that we're looking back and says, thank God I actually got in. not easy getting into this house. And it wasn't us that says, I want in. It was him that says, I'm going to choose you. Just like how he chose Moses. With all our baggages that we have, he says, yeah, you have something in you that I want. That's why we are here, us older people.
There's always a choice, but what's your decision is what I'm going to end off with. Like, what is your decision at the end of the day?
All right. Tina, what's your last word on this?
Choose life. Choose blessings. Because the curses will always be there. We don't want no more of that. We're in the, what season is this for us? So it's judgment for the other side. And it's good stuff for us. So we do have a choice to answer the question. We have a choice, but we have to choose wisely. We have to. For me, I don't have a choice. It's life or death, and I choose life. So I don't have a choice, but you do have a choice. So choose right, because the God of Israel, he wants you to choose right. That's why he lays everything out for us. I mean, it's like night and day, black and white. You can't mess up. Why would we? I know we're human and we make mistakes. And like Levi said, we can repent and do right. But what if the time runs out on us? Because we don't know when we're going to leave this land. So don't be like the rich man. Okay? When you get to that point, and then you have no other choices to make. So make the right choice right now.
Sounds good. I saw a comment that says they want a part 2 on this. Okay. No problem. No problem. When that time comes on, we can do a part 2. Just hang tight. But yeah, choose the truth, not the lie. Choose to serve the greatest God, the one and true and living God, God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. And with that, I say peace and happy Sabbath.
Peace.
Happy Sabbath.